Hello, welcome to your video on compound inequalities. This is an exciting one because it's a little bit different than regular inequality solving. So by the end of the video and time in class, you will be able to solve and graph compound inequalities. Well, first we have to talk about what compound inequalities actually are before we can do anything with them. There are inequalities that have two distinct inequalities joined by the word and or the word or. And some examples of them will follow in the next slides. Okay, how do I write compound inequalities? Compound inequalities are fun. So the first one, all real numbers that are greater than 2 and less than 6. So what you're going to do is just read it left to right. So all real numbers, so your variable there, is greater than -2, and that same number is less than 6. So because this is true, both of these things, we can actually write it with your variable in the middle, and then your other numbers, on this, you want to write it numerically correct. So that's why I started erasing the -2. You want the -2 on this side, n is greater than that, and then n is less than 6. So this would be your compound inequality. Next one, all real numbers that are less than 0 or greater than or equal to 5. So some numbers are less than 0, or that number, whatever it is greater than or equal to 5. And how we're going to write this is slightly different because of the word or, and it can't fit both of them. If I were to graph this, okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. N is less than 0, so it's going to be here and over. N is greater than or equal to 5, so it's going to be that way. These two will never ever cross, and so this is exactly how you are going to write it. There's no in between. If you look up at the previous one, if we were to put this one on a number line, and I'm running out of room, but if we go with that, we have n is greater than -2, so going that way, and then 6, which is off the chart, but just imagine, is less than, it's going to go that way. So you're connecting the two, so it would be -2 is here and 6 is here. This would be an open circle, and then it's the space in between that our arrows can touch. So that's how you would graph those problems. Alright, practice for you. You just have to write the compound inequality for these two. You don't have to graph them. Pause the video and then turn it back on when you think you have the right answer. Alright, answer for number 1 is -4 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 6. Okay? No, you didn't need to include a number line, but if -4 is here and 6 is here, this would be a closed circle, this would be open, and then it would just be the space in between. Alright, number 2, x is less than or equal to 2.5, or x is greater than 6. It's either one or the other, it is not both. So there are your answers. So next question, how do I solve and graph an inequality involving the word and here's your sample problem. So I'm going to show you how to do this. The word and means both, So what you do is you just break it apart. So I'm going to have negative 3 is less than or equal to m minus 4 on one side, and m minus 4 is less than negative 1. And I'm going to solve both of these inequalities, just like how you normally would. So I'm going to add 4 on both sides, and that's 1 is less than or equal to m, and plus 3, m is less than 2. Oh, sorry. Yes. Oh, what am I doing? We need to add 4 on both sides. Goodness gracious. Plus 4 on both sides. Good thing I caught that. This would be 3. So 1 is less than or equal to m, and m is less than 3. And so my final answer then is going to be 1 is less than or equal to m, which is less than 3. That is my answer. And then graphing it. Touched on it a little bit. But here's my graph. 1 is right here, it's a closed circle, and 3 is an open circle. And it's just the space in between the two. Not anything further than that, just the between the 1 and the 3. Okay, now we have inequalities involving or. How do we do those? Basically the same thing, only it's already broken up for you. So you're just going to solve the two problems as they are written. So minus 2 on both sides. 3t is less than negative 9. Then divide by 3. And t is less than negative 3. Or, let me do the same problem. Minus 5. Negative 4t is less than negative 4. Divide by negative 4 on both sides. Then t, and because we divided by a negative, our sign changes. So t is greater than 1. And so the answer then is just that. T is less than negative 3, or t is greater than 1. And then when it comes to graphing, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. Okay, so t less than negative 3, open circle. T is smaller than negative 3, so it's going that way. And then t is greater than 1, open circle, going to the right. That's your graph for that one. All right, practice for you. There are two problems. You are going to solve and graph both of them. Make sure you're showing all of your work. And then turn this back on when you're ready for your answers. Okay, I'm going to try and squeeze the answers in here. Hopefully it works because it's a little messy. But number 1, you will have an answer of n is less than negative 1, or n is greater than 2. And then when we graph it, okay, open circle at negative 1 to the left, open circle at 2 to the right. And number 2, your answer is 2/3 is less than y, which is less than 6. And then graphing it, you can kind of go like this. I'm rounding it a little bit. Do the best you can. 2/3 would be approximately here, and 6 would be approximately here, and then it's that space in between that gets counted. So if you have questions on that, make sure you bring those to class. Okay, real world example problem for you. To earn a B in your algebra course, it's not our algebra course, just go with it. You must achieve an underrated test average between 84 and 86 inclusive. You scored 86, 85, and 80 on the first 3 tests. What are the scores that you can earn on the last 2 to receive a B in the class? So first thing, we need to write our compound inequality. So we know our test average has to be between 84 and 86. So it has to be greater than 84 and either greater than that, or it has to be less than or equal to 86 because that's your average, okay? So it has to be between those two. Oh, that should be equal to. So anywhere in between that. And then we know what those scores were. We had 86, 85, and 80. And then we don't know oops, that should just say last test. I messed up. Plus x, and then there's those 4 tests, so we're dividing by 4. That's how we find the average. Okay. First step then is to get x by itself. So we're going to treat this as 2 separate problems. So we're going to write 84 is less than or equal to 86 plus 85 plus, well, I'm not going to rewrite it. If we add those up, we have 251 plus x divided by 4. And then we have I'm going to start writing them again. Then we have 251 plus x divided by 4 is less than or equal to 86. And then getting x by itself, we're going to first multiply by 4 on both sides, and we get 336 is less than or equal to 251 plus x. And we subtract 251, and I'm running out of room. But when I do that, I get 85 is less than or equal to x. Then I jump over to this other one. Multiply by 4 on both sides, and I get 251 plus x is less than or equal to 344. And subtract 251 on both sides, and I get x is less than or equal to 93. So then my final answer to this problem would be 85 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 93, which means on your last test, on that 4th test, you would have to score between 85 and 93. All right, that's all I got for you. Come ready to work in class. Thanks for watching. Ooh, I almost forgot. Hopefully you catch this. At the very, very last thing I want you to do, where it says summary, I'm going to have you draw this wonderful shape, and then draw a smiley face in it. Please write that shape on your notes right where the word summary is, either right above it or off to the side, but make sure that gets on your paper. Okay, now I'm done. Thanks for watching.